And we're going to start with the land acknowledgement. Before we begin, we believe it's important to open our meeting by acknowledging the Indigenous land that we share. Pasadena City College is a learning community within the Indigenous homelands of people who have been known as the Gabrielinos bands of mission Indians of the Shi'i-Kuenga village and Keech Nation. We acknowledge the painful history of genocide and forced removal from this land on which we gather. We honor all Indigenous people, past, present, and future, and their continued survival and contributions to our society. We also honor the legacy of the African diaspora and recognize that this country would not exist without the free enslaved labor of Black people. We share these acknowledgements to raise awareness about histories that are too often erased or forgotten, to recognize our place in this history, and to affirm our commitment to social justice, systemic change, and anti-racism. So thank you everyone for being here today. I'm going to ask Professor Walker if we have any public comment.
Yes, we do. First on the list, everyone sharing public comment today, whether you share it or whether I read it, you only have 3 minutes, at which time an alarm will sound, and that will be the end of your comment time. Okay, so first on the list, we have Kristen Pilon. Is Kristen here to read? Okay, I see Kristen. Okay, you're free to speak.
Thank you. I was a professor of the graphic communications program for 30 years at PCC. I'm here today with the support of David Kewitt, associate professor in graphic communications for 35 years, and John Miner, adjunct instructor for more than 15 years. We want senators to understand that the college has decided to erase an outstanding program that has been active at PCC for more than 70 years. It was a successful program up until the retirement of the full-time faculty, coinciding with the COVID restrictions on face-to-face teaching. Why completely remove it from the catalog after being shuttered for a year? What are the reasons the program is being canceled? This was a vocational certificate program, one of the 99 advertised proudly in banners and bus propaganda and on the college website. 99 vocational programs, wow. And yet it's interesting to note that the president's welcome letter in the college catalog does not even mention vocational programs, only degree achievement and transfer as markers of success. Vocational courses are essential for many of our students. Vocational courses are also more expensive than classroom instruction, especially now that the faculty are teaching more online. The recent reduction in vocational programs at PCC is more due to short-sighted financial concerns and to the college's quest to be number one in transfers than to the necessity or demand for the courses in the community at large. Where is that $30 million when we need it? Graphic communications technology was a successful and vibrant program that brought many students into the college who were not necessarily planning to attend PCC, but they were interested in learning the skills we taught, and most of them also eventually found their way into the college as successful students. Isn't this our mission? Our students were primarily students of color, many from economically challenged backgrounds. They sought skills that would allow them to create and print in a home environment in order to earn income, as well as get jobs in local printing establishments. Aren't these the kind of people we want to help move forward in their lives? We are meeting here today because there was a move to get rid of this program very quickly, as the college was already in the process of emptying the classroom of furniture, supplies, and equipment. Many materials could have been donated to organizations such as Self-Help Graphics and Inner City Arts. What was the big rush? It was important enough to violate the Brown Act to get a vote passed to eliminate the graphic communications classes. Did you senators know anything about this program? Of course not. That was part of the plan, that you would vote to eliminate the program without any information that might have provoked you to vote no or abstain for lack of knowledge or to ask questions. What was the Senate leadership trying to pull?
I'm sorry, Kristen, your time is up. Thank you. Thank you for your statement. So next we have for public comment, and remember there is a 3-minute limit. Kathy Cotares, sorry if I mispronounced your name. Is Kathy available to read her statement? I see Kathy.
Hi, thank you. Am I ready? Am I going? Okay, thank you. Let me get it on the screen here. I just wanted to invite all on campus to join Mindfulness Monday sessions every single Monday from 1 to 2 p.m. via Zoom. Each Monday, myself and Susanna Piliposian provide campus-wide shared virtual space for contemplation and healing that includes on all levels, super gentle yoga, breath work, and or meditation. We do it all. I'll put the link into the chat. The weekly sessions are open to all in the PCC community. Faculty and staff can register using the Vision Resource Center, and students can register via the Zoom link in the PCC campus-wide calendar that I'll share. Also, myself, Ms. Piliposian, and Professor Mirales, who is, I think, here, we host an Outlook Teams group for cultivating a culture of caring at PCC, trauma-informed healing center community of practitioners. And that's where we post recordings of the Mindfulness Monday sessions in this online space for a limited time if you cannot attend live, because we know everybody's schedule is different. And so you can email me for more information, but I will also share it in the chat. We had our second meeting of the semester today. We held it all semester last fall, and it's been wonderful. So we hope to see some of you there. We were talking about how it's an incredibly radical act on a Monday afternoon to pause, come together in community, to just breathe and move. So thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next for comment, we have Mahara Sinclair. Mahara, are you available to read your statement? Mahara Sinclair. Okay, well, I will read her statement for her with the same 3-minute limit put on myself. Starting the clock. Hello, esteemed colleagues. We are focusing our efforts as a campus community on equity, ferreting out white supremacy with the goal to support the BIPOC ascendancy. The leadership at PCC has demonstrated its intent to maintain the status quo. They're using intimidation, tactics, and threats against anyone who does not comply with their insensitive tone-deaf mandates. The leadership has proven itself to be disingenuous about our equity goals. The BIPOC ascendancy is here. Things must change now. There is no later. We must clean house and overhaul the current leadership. I propose a vote of no confidence. With appreciation, Mahara. Okay. And the next comment is from Shannon Maragi. So sorry if I mispronounced that. Shannon Maragi. Are you present to read your statement? Going once, going twice. Okay, so I'll read it with the same guidelines of 3 minutes. Alrighty. I support a vote of no confidence of the PCC President Erica Jonas for the following reasons. The president does not listen to the faculty or students. The student petition to stay remote at change.org has over 2,500 signatures. 80% of faculty members polled during the second week of the semester voted to remain online until COVID-19 cases return to a normal level. There was no acknowledgement or discussion. As Special Assistant to the President, Alex Buckelheim said in an email to Pasadena Now, the timing of return to campus is not open for negotiation. The president does not listen to science. On January 24th, the day our campus reopened, the New York Times stated that that California reported a 47% increase in daily average cases over the past 2 weeks, and a 61% increase in hospitalizations. Although by now the case rate has recently peaked, the death rate hasn't peaked yet. There are currently 67 deaths weekly in LA County, and that rate is still climbing. On January 19th, KTLA reported that hospital ICUs were at or near capacity across SoCal, with ICUs overrun and the effects of long COVID still unknown. It doesn't make sense to rush to open our college of 1,700 enrolled students and risk becoming a super spreader campus. Point 3. On campus, COVID testing and N95 mass distribution, 2 measures that the president promised would protect us during the return to campus, were completely mismanaged. N95s were not distributed to students during the first few days of reopening. So many students wore cloth masks and had little protection against the very contagious Omicron variant. The weekend before January 24th and all of the week of reopening, lines for testing were 2 to 4 hours long, with many students missing classes and faculty having to cancel classes. Additionally, many didn't receive their test results until hours later or the following day, despite being told that testing would take 15 minutes and results would be emailed right after. Now, point number 4. We are a college that talks a lot about equity, but a one-size-fits-all forcing people to return to campus is ableist and far from inclusive. For students and faculty who are immune compromised, and that's as far as we get. So thank you for that comment, Shannon. Okay, and our next comment is from Linda Hensman. Is Linda present to share her comment? Going once, going twice. Okay, I will read Linda's response again with the same guidelines of 3 minutes. And I will do that now. From Linda Hensman, I'm very happy to be allowed back on campus. I feel much safer at PCC than when I make my weekly trip to the grocery store. We are tested weekly. We are provided quality masks. All of us are vaccinated. Many are boosted too. I can't say the same for my fellow shoppers. I feel that the PCC team has done a great job making PCC as safe as possible while balancing the need to return to our classrooms. I know many students have signed a petition to continue remote learning. The voices of those 2,500 students are important, but so are the voices of the vast majority who do not get to sign the petition. Their voices may be quiet, but they deserve to be heard too. I have heard that 80% of the faculty polled voted to remain online. This does not mean 80% of all faculty feel this way. This means 80% of those who read the email and did the survey wanted to stay remote. As a teacher of statistics, I know the importance of having a truly random sample. This survey was biased from the start and probably should not be taken as being representative of faculty as a whole. We need to know how many took the survey and how many faculty there are. 80% sounds powerful, but if it is 80% of a small subset of the faculty, it isn't such a big deal. Thank you for hearing me out, Linda Hensman. And that is the end of public comment.
Thank you, Professor Walker.
I'm so sorry. I sent in an email also to be on public comment. Maybe it didn't go through to Armia. I'm not sure.
Let me check.
Okay.
Okay, just a moment. You did? Great.
Sorry about that, Dr. Francoso. With the sea of emails, I must have missed it. Would you like to read it or would you like me to read?
So thank you. It's just a real quick comment. With all the discussion about a vote of no confidence that's taking place on the campus, the social science division also wants to know a little bit more information about what this means, right? So how do we get a vote of no confidence on the agenda here within the Senate? Also, how do we go about, if we do vote about no confidence, what are the ramifications if it is a no? What will be the larger effects of a vote of no confidence if it is a no on the president and the institution? If folks can vote anonymously about this process as well, I'm not sure if that's even a possibility, but the social science reps here have already started polling our faculty. And I know there's kind of a large groundswell in our division. And I know we have a division meeting tomorrow and they're gonna want some accountability about what we've been doing in here and how to get this kind of settled and moved forward, because they would like to see this happen sometime soon. So my comment is more questions about like process and how we can actually start moving this forward. Thank you.
Thank you for that. And also we have one more public comment, and that is from Dr. Bernardo. Is Dr. Bernardo here to share her comment?
Sorry, yes, I'm here, but that was a comment submitted to me by a person who wanted to remain anonymous. So if you want to read it, that's okay with me.
I don't know how to process that. Hold on one second. Okay, I'll read it. Thank you. Let's see here. Okay, so same guidelines, 3 minutes. The anonymous comment reads, I am extremely concerned about the ADA violations which faculty members have been subject to recently. Some faculty members with disabilities have been told by the administration that their accommodations aren't in effect during COVID. This is not only appalling on a human level, it also opens PCC up to lawsuits. Faculty members who have a variety of ADA protected disabilities, including underlying conditions such as diabetes, asthma, allergies, chronic migraines, chronic fatigue, arthritis, back spinal pain, and hypertension, which could be made worse by contracted COVID. All of the above qualify. Are legally entitled to an accommodation to work remotely during COVID. An employee just must submit medical supporting documentation, a doctor's note, which affirms the condition and specifies that the employee should be able to telework until COVID is no longer a threat to their health. It is important to note that many of the conditions above are common, and people who have these conditions may not normally identify as disabled, because in pre-COVID times, they were able to manage their condition via medication and other means. However, in this stage of COVID, it may be reasonable for people to speak up and get the accommodation they are legally entitled to in order to keep themselves safe. If you or someone you know is a faculty member with a disability or an underlying condition, such as those mentioned above, I encourage you to call Disability Rights California Hotline 1-800-776-5746 today and get help, know your rights, and band together with others so that you can keep yourself safe and have the law on your side when PCC tries to violate your rights. Is Superintendent President Indra Jonas involved in the decision to deny faculty members their ADA protection accommodations or not? If she is told HR to do it, she's violating faculty members' rights. If she didn't tell HR to do it, then she's asleep at the wheel. Either way, it reinforces the reasons why there is currently a discussion of vote of no confidence for her. If you happen, oh, that's it. That's the end of the comment. Thank you.
Okay, if there are no further comments, we'll move on to the approval of the minutes. I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the minutes for January 24th, 2022. Is there a motion? Is there a motion to approve the minutes? Sheila Rose.
I move to approve the minutes.
Is there a second?
Sure.
Thank you, Lyman Chafin. Okay. Is there any discussion on the minute, the approval of the minutes? Okay, seeing no hands. We can approve these minutes by unanimous consent if there are no objections. If you have objections, please say so. Seeing none, the minutes are approved by unanimous consent. Okay, now on to our constituency reports. We have a report from the PCCFA. Mark, you are here. You have the floor.
I am here. Thank you, President Lopez. Hi, everybody. I'm sure you've all heard that we have come to agreement with the districts for a supplemental MOU regarding the pandemic. And I'm just going to go over a couple of the highlights of that. And just so you're aware, if you haven't been aware, I would think you would be aware, but just in case you haven't. So some of the things we agreed upon is masking. They will be providing the appropriate masks and fitting for those people that want N95s. We've also agreed upon testing for all faculty once a week. And some of the more important things, notifications. Now we will all be notified if there are COVID cases on campus and where they are, so that if you are close to that area, you will at least know. You'll also be notified if there is a positive case from a student in your class. The district has also agreed to have regular weekly updates to the COVID dashboard, which is real important to us. And also for remote assignments, if you are diagnosed with COVID or someone in your household is diagnosed with COVID, then you will be allowed to temporarily move to remote instruction. And last but not least, boosters will be required of all who are eligible by May 8th. And then along with the testing and the boosters, there comes some compensation. For boosters, there will be a $500 compensation for boosters and $75 per week for testing. And those are the highlights of the MOU. You can read the entire MOU on our website, or I believe it's been sent out. And if it's not, it will be sent out. And that is basically the update. If there are any questions, I can answer them.
Any questions for Professor Whitworth? I see, oh, there's a hand, Dr. Bernardo.
Hi, sorry, I just wanted to ask if, because of this new MOU, the FA has decided not to file an unfair labor charge against the district, or has that already been done, or is that going to still be done?
That's still being discussed.
Thank you.
Any other questions, Professor Whitworth? Thank you, FA. And we're going to move on to adjunct faculty. Is there an adjunct faculty report, Dr. Bernardo?
Yes, hi, thank you very much. The members of the Adjunct Faculty Issues Committee have expressed that they would like the Senate reps to please ask their departments for concrete feedback into why they do not want to support the rewritten language of Section 3 of AP 7210 as written and approved by the AFI committee and presented. We want to know what specifically is objectionable about including adjunct and non-tenured faculty on hiring committees. We would like to figure out what the issues are and possibly have a chance to rewrite it for resubmission to the Academic Senate for approval at a future date. Also, on different topic, many adjuncts have contacted me, concerned and outraged. They report they have been threatened and bullied by their deans and administration and targeted for possible punishment because they chose to remain remote after the January 24th return to campus date set by PCC administration. So I'm just expressing these concerns in general from the adjunct faculty. While some are happy to return to campus and face-to-face, the adjunct faculty, when surveyed, were overwhelmingly in favor of each faculty member having a choice as to whether to return to in-person instruction based on their needs and their students' needs. This was not taken into consideration by Superintendent President Andrionis and PCC administration, and many adjuncts were disappointed and outraged by the complete disregard for their needs, their lives, and those of their students, many of whom were terrified to return for fear of the possible exposure on campus, potentially infecting their elders and small children at home. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Dr. Bernardo. Classified Senate.
Hi, we have no report.
Thank you, Ms. Joseph. Associated Students.
Hello, everyone. So I only have a few updates for you guys. First, the associated students are currently going over some APs and BPs. Also, last Wednesday, we passed a resolution recommending that PCC requires weekly COVID testing for all students attending in-person classes for spring 2022. And then we also have another reminder that Club Week is February 16 to 17 from 12 to 1 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you. Administration Management Association. I'm sorry, there's a, oh, I'm sorry, Dr. Cobb. Is that a question for Bevel? Is that a question for Associated Students?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yes, I just wanted to ask the Associated Students rep if they surveyed the students to find out if the students were comfortable coming back face to face.
Yeah, we conducted a student survey, and I believe it was 52% who were in favor. But can I check the survey and then send it in the chat just to make sure? Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for Associated Students? Okay, Dr. Cobb, report for Management Association.
No report today. Thank you, Dr. Lopez.
Thank you. Okay, now we'll move on to our officers' report, starting with me, Academic Senate President. I wanted to read the statement in regards to communications sent out to the faculty. All Academic Senate subcommittees are under the governing body of the Academic Senate. Therefore, steps are in place to reduce confusion, which is outlined in our bylaws. According to Article 6, Actions by Members, Article 6.1, Initiatives and Referendum. Upon presentation to the President of the Academic Senate during a regular meeting, fall or spring, a petition signed by at least 10% of regular faculty requesting that an initiative or referendum affecting the Academic Senate or the college be submitted to a vote by regular faculty, the Academic Senate office shall distribute such referendum along with a memorandum and explanation of the referendum/initiative process outlined in this bylaw to all regular faculty within 1 week after the next Academic Senate board meeting. The memorandum shall ask for written statements from regular faculty related to the initiative referendum to be submitted to the Academic Senate office no later than 2 weeks following the date of distribution. At the end of the 2 week statement period, the Academic Senate President shall distribute the statement as written and submit the proposal by a vote by secret ballot or regular faculty within 4 weeks after the closing of the statement period. Only statements from identified regular faculty will be distributed. As for the email sent on January 27th, it should not have been sent to all faculty, at least not under the auspices of the Academic Senate Subcommittee. While any faculty are free to express their concerns or opinions on any matter to anyone they please, Academic Senate Subcommittee work for the Academic Senate subcommittees work for the Academic Senate and should only report to the Academic Senate. If an individual member of the Academic Senate subcommittee is not pleased with any action taken or not taken by the Academic Senate, then that individual is free to express their displeasure, but they take care to ensure they are doing so as an individual and not as a member or chair of any committee. As pointed out, there is a formal process by which faculty can complete the Academic Senate, can complete the Academic Senate to act. And that's, again, Academic Senate Bylaw 6.1. That is the end of my president's report. Do we have a vice president's report?
Yes. I just made a very small PowerPoint just because let me just put this up. Oh, sorry, guys. Okay. So I just want to remind committee chairs that there's a committee chair training that the support committee has put together. And so in resolution 20.1, it was agreed upon that committee chairs would do the training. And I would say most of our committee chairs have, but there's some that still haven't. So in that training, you go over what committee chair duties are, the Brown Act, Robert's Rules of Order, and how your committee fits into the institution. So I think it's really useful that our committee chairs do this training. So if you have not, I would suggest that you take the time to do it. This was a report from Facilities Standing Committee. Candace Jones is spearheading 2 initiatives, Student Community Space and the Family Resource Center. She's actively working with associated students to develop a student community space. And she's working to establish a family resource center, likely in the former Ujima office in CC, for parents to obtain services when they have their children with them. VP Jones will bring back to the Facility Standing Committee in February for a formal vote. If there are any questions or concerns, please have senators contact Candace or Sylvia Talak. And I was contacted by some committees who need more volunteers. So the committee's support committee definitely needs more people to help out. And the bylaws and procedures committee has also asked for more committees support. So if you're able to, remember, you can go on the Senate website and volunteer your time on these committees. The other thing I want to mention is I just want to remind you all that we had sent out two hirings that are going on that are administrative hirings. So in that AP, we are asked to fill those spots within 5 days. So that's a very tight turnaround that we have. So if you're interested, please email me. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Jaramillo. Do we have a secretary's report? Okay, no secretary's report. Can we have the treasurer's report, please?
Thank you, Dr. Lopez. I'd like to use my report time today to clarify some questions that came up at the Faculty Association meeting on Friday regarding votes of no confidence. And I'm reading from the statewide Academic Senate's page. So the Academic Senate for California Community Colleges has received many questions regarding exactly what a vote of no confidence means when directed at an individual administrator, a board or office, or an idea or plan. At a college or district, a vote of no confidence by the Academic Senate can have a variety of meanings. The reasons for such a vote should be clearly spelled out in the resolve statements of a resolution that explicitly indicates what the action is intended to convey: alarm, a concern, a broken trust, or a call for removal of an individual. In all cases, an academic senate should think carefully, evaluate the principles involved and the political landscape of the environment, and generally take the step of a vote of no confidence only when all other mechanisms of communication have failed. Also, to clarify who can take a vote of no confidence, the Academic Senate of the California Community College writes, other organizations may undertake an action with similar or the same language as a vote of no confidence. For example, a collective bargaining unit representing the faculty may in some cases do so. Since collective bargaining units exist to protect faculty in the areas of working conditions and fair compensation, these votes may not be rooted in the same rationales as those taken by academic senates and may have different implications. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Rose. Okay, now we go on to information items. I think Dr. Olivo was planning on joining us later, so we will move on to Dr. Ramirez.
Hi, good afternoon. So just a few updates. Enrollment, as you all probably know, our enrollment is significantly down. Our FTS is down a little bit over 20%. Our head count is as well about 20%. Success centers are open, and I just wanted to let all the faculty know we have both tutoring face-to-face and online available for students, as well as proctoring services. There is an online form that faculty can use to request proctoring services, and I can put that in the chat as well. The third item I wanted to bring up is the Chancellor's Office has reissued the opportunity for community colleges to apply and put an application forward for a baccalaureate program. And so the applications for this second round will be available to us on April 15th. I did submit a letter of intent. It doesn't commit us to anything, but I wanted to see if Dr. Lopez, you could help me put a small group together to talk about whether the college wants to move forward with this and what disciplines and what that would look like. Again, the application will be available on April 15th, and it will be due to the Chancellor's Office in August. So we can get a small group together to start talking about our options. Remember, the baccalaureate program cannot duplicate or infringe upon any of the Cal State programs, such as nursing. The ones that we know are high impact, we cannot apply for those. It's typically a CTE program. But it's something that we need to investigate, I think, collectively. So I would ask for a small group to come together, and you can let me know who that will be and what the interest is.
If you are interested in being a part of that small group, or you have people within your division that are interested, please email me at glopez@pasadena.edu. I'll put that in the chat.
That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ramirez. Next, we have, let me see. I'm sorry, Professor Indor, go ahead.
I was wondering, Dr. Ramirez, is there a difference in the amount of money that the school gets if you have a person in a seat or a person who is communicating online?
The Chancellor's Office has done a dispensation for a short period of time if you have to move a class to remote. There is a difference in apportionment for There was a difference in apportionment for online classes. There is no more. So they have corrected that with what's called the term length multiplier, which we use for attendance accounting. Traditionally has been used for online classes, but because of the large number that transitioned, new legislation was passed. And so it's very close to what it would be in a traditional lecture class.
You're muted, Gita, you're muted.
Not exactly the same, but close. Is that what you're saying?
Right, right. And, you know, I'm happy to bring more information. I can be more prepared and maybe put something in writing in a one-pager to send out. if that's helpful to talk, that will show the difference in apportionment for face-to-face versus online classes.
All right, thank you.
I have a question also, Dr. Ramirez. I should have asked it in our meeting. Is it possible to get the attrition rate of our students based on ethnicity, race and ethnicity?
Attrition rate?
Yes. You said that we're 20% down in enrollment.
Right. So we can look at what our demographic breakdown was, let's say last spring versus this spring. Is that what you're asking for?
I think that would work.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, are there any other questions for Dr. Ramirez? Okay, seeing none, we're going to move on to our equity plan timeline by Quay Dang. Quay, are you here?
Hi, Dr. Lopez. I am.
Awesome.
Hello, senators. Thanks for having me. For those who don't know me, my name is Quay Dang. I'm the new Executive Director of Student Equity under the Division of Equity, Diversity, and Justice. Thanks for having me. I'm just going to spend a couple of minutes talking about our process in developing our new 3-year student equity plan for 2022 through 2025. Can I share my screen, Dr. Lopez, just quickly? Okay, great, thank you. So just a quick reminder. Oh, I think I'm frozen. Shoot. Can you all hear me?
Yes, we can.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can you see my screen? Okay, there we go. You were froze for a second. So just a quick reminder of what the student equity plan is. The primary goal is to really develop a robust and intentional plan to address achievement for all students with the emphasis on eliminating opportunity gaps for students from traditionally underrepresented groups. This plan will be a 1-year process, and it has already started, starting in the fall. And this gives you a little bit of a breakdown of what we'll plan on doing for the rest of the academic year, well into November 22, because that is when the plan is due. So through the Student Success Committee, we've been working really hard since fall to review our current plan, as well as evaluate it, working with institutional research and effectiveness on looking at the data, looking at where our gaps continue to be persistent, where we've made progress, where we still need work to do. And so we are in the process of evaluation. We're also getting into the process of talking about who around campus will be helping us spearhead the plan. We have a group of 10 faculty, staff, administrators, and folks around campus to help us actually do the planning process along with our our Student Success Committee. We will be going around campus on a listening tour within academic departments, within student services, within specifically our student representation from associated students, as well as other parts of campus, on getting to know what priority areas that people want to give input to the plan and where we think we need to have more resources to it. And then hopefully we'll be writing the plan and having a pretty robust draft by the end of this academic year. And we'll be taking it to governance throughout the spring and hopefully having it go to the Board of Trustees by November. So throughout this process, we'll be coming back here to Academic Senate, providing updates, as well as providing different levels of things that we may need advice upon, as well as just feedback. So you will be hearing more from us and different representatives from our committee. And we hope that Academic Senate, as well as all the different forms of governance, will be really engaged and integrated in the new work of the plan. And I'm open to any questions.
Is it possible for you to stop sharing?
Yes.
Right, thank you. Are there any questions for Quay? Seeing none, thank you so much, Quay. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
Okay. Next, we have annual update information with David Colley. David, I know I saw you here. There you are.
Yes, hi, Dr. Lopez. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Looking around, I see a lot of faces that I've worked with in the past, and it's always nice to see you all. I was asked by Dr. Lopez to come and give a brief update on some of the changes that have happened in the annual planning process this year. I'm going to highlight two things that are a little bit more substantial, and then a couple of things that are more on the terminology side of the house, and then finish with a really great announcement. At least I think it's really great. First off, there were two major changes that we ended up implementing in this year's annual planning process. One of them was our timeline. It used to be that in the previous cycles since 2015, the annual planning process would begin in September, and people would write their plans into November, and then we would all go away for the holidays and then come back after winter, and then a prioritization process would conclude into the budget retreat. Well, there was a lot of error in that way of doing things, and Crystal Koros, my supervisor, and I had been trying to figure out ways that we could maybe reduce some of that error so that there's a shorter amount of time between writing plans and actually implementing and doing the plans. And we discussed things with the budget and fiscal folks, and came to an agreement that we could actually move the process forward from the fall into the spring term, truncating that time from people writing plans to actually getting them implemented, and then getting the budget for the next year approved. So we've done that, and an email went out last fall that highlighted that specifically. The second piece is, as you who have worked in the annual planning process in the last couple of years have noted, since we've gotten the new educational master plan, when you went into your annual plans, there were all 32 of the EMP strategies waiting in your plan for you, and you had the opportunity to write to various plans, various strategies in the educational master plan. But what was missing was sort of a larger sense of guidance and direction of how we all, as different entities of the college, should approach our contributions to the educational master plan. And so this year, as a first, the four main executives over the four areas of the college, Dr. Jonas, Dr. Ramirez, Dr. Olivo, and Candace Jones, all started by writing area plans wherein they identified a subset of EMP strategies for their particular areas, and then gave some guidance and direction via an area plan. Now, when you all, when every entity goes into their annual plan for this year, they will not see all 32 of the strategies of the EMP. They'll see the subset that was identified for their area, and then they have access in the data and resources section to access the academic affairs plan and read it to get a sense of what Dr. Ramirez's direction was, as an example. So those are the two big changes. A couple of the smaller terminology changes, you may have already caught one of them or two of them. We used to refer to this process as the annual update process, and some people were fine with it, and some people were like what is it an update to? And so, being that this is really our campus college-wide annual planning process, we just dropped the update, and from this cycle forward, we'll just be calling this the annual planning process, and you'll be writing annual plans. Another terminology change was, and again, this is just a simplification, the repository that we created, that we put into every cycle that has the dashboards and handbooks and materials, has always been called data sets and reference materials. And quite frankly, I got tired of saying all of those words. And so that piece is now just called data and resources. And so all of the handbooks, the data, and those area plans for every area are located in what's now data and resources. Finally, I want to finish with a brief update and note that we, as a college, have officially started the implementation process of a set of modules from the anthology, what has been called Campus Labs in the past. A software platform that will integrate our SLO assessment, program review, and strategic planning processes into one platform that communicates across those different areas. And we're all excited about it. We're going to be launching and implementing over this next year. So what that means is that Task Stream, which has been our program review and planning software, will be sunsetted, as will eLumen in favor of the anthology suite of software platforms.
Perfect timing, David. We just ran out of time. If there are questions for David, we'll need to extend his time. Are there any questions for him? Okay, well then, thank you so much, David, for being here and taking the time to talk to us.
Thank you very much for having me.
Have a great day.
I have a question.
Oh, then in that case, we'll need to, someone will need to make a motion to extend the time. I see Susan's hand Susan Bauer as a first, and Professor Indoor, I saw you as a second. Is that correct? How much are you extending it by, Susan? I'm sorry. 5 minutes? Okay. If there are no objections, we can do this by unanimous consent. Any objections to extending David's time by 5 minutes? Okay, seeing none, we are approved by unanimous consent. Go ahead, Professor Ayers.
The new programs, first, is there training schedule that will facilitate the use of those programs? And when do we anticipate TaskStream and Illumin to disappear?
Good questions. Yes, we've literally we've started the implementation of Anthology, I believe 2 weeks ago, and it is going to be a fairly long process because these are 3 significant processes that have multiple moving parts. I believe that we have a general go live date of August 1 for the platform as a whole. I believe that we're going to be focusing on SLO outcome assessment as the first major piece to fully implement, and then program review. And then planning, the annual planning will follow that. But yes, there will be, as we have in the past with, at least with the planning and program review processes, there will be extensive training. I'll probably do a lot of that myself, and documentation and handbooks and that sort of thing that will be available to anyone who will be using the platforms for program review, annual planning, or SLO assessment.
And so, I'm sorry, what was the name of the new platform?
The new platform is a company called Anthology. It used to be called Campus Labs. And it's the same company that we currently have for our student engagement, which is, I think it's Lancer Link is I think we've rebranded it to either Lancer Link or Lancer Life. I'm not totally sure on that title, but they have a total of about, I think, 9 modules that go college-wide. Thank you, Dr. Cobb, Lancer Life. And we have purchased the subset that will allow us to integrate these 3 processes, plus our, keep our campus engagement piece. And it gives us the ability of being able to interact with Canvas on a deeper level, and also interface with our student information system banner.
Are there any other questions for David?
And I'd just like to say, if people are forming questions in the interim, I am happy to work with any and all of you offline. And my email is djcolley, DJCOLLEY @pasadena.edu. And I'm happy to meet with you in person or chat with you via Zoom or email with any needs that you might have.
Thank you again, David. Okay. I muted myself. So what we're going to do now, we'll move forward to our information item number 5, sustainability and curriculum. Dr. Oventile, are you here?
Yes, and
you have the floor.
Thank you. My name is Robert Oventile. I teach in the English department here at PCC, and I'm also the co-chair of the Sustainability Standing Committee. And as the co-chair of that committee, I'd like to thank President Lopez for making the time in the busy agenda today here for an information item from our committee. And if it is appropriate, I'll attempt to share screen to share some information at this time. Okay, so the Sustainability Standing Committee over the past year and a half approximately has worked to develop some recommendations to forward to the College Council, which the committee did approximately 3 weeks ago. And so these recommendations, you have this document in the board docs information for this meeting. So if anybody wants to review this document in more detail at your leisure, you have it in board docs. But this is the memo the Sustainability Committee sent to the College Council, which included a recommendation that PCC establish an office of sustainability, and that Office of Sustainability would be charged with facilitating 3 areas of sustainability work for the campus: regulatory, civic engagement, and curriculum. And I'm here today to focus on the curriculum aspect. The College Council on January 20th voted unanimously to adopt these recommendations from the Sustainability Standing Committee. And so myself and Emily Fernandez and Kathy Kataris and other committee members have begun work on implementing the curriculum aspect. As you can see in the document, the curriculum recommendation reads as follows. The committee recommends that PCC transform its curricula to be consistent with recommendations 1 and 2, the regulatory and civic engagement recommendations, to decarbonize the curricula, and to do so via the framework and impetus of an Earth System Stewardship general education outcome. And so the process for implementing this curriculum recommendation is what I'm here to make some suggestions about and maybe get some feedback either today or by email later. I'm at rsoventile@pasadena.edu. The curriculum aspect, the idea here is to shift the college curriculum away from assuming a fossil fueled future and therefore a unsustainable future, to assuming a decarbonized future and therefore a sustainable future. This might mean different things in different classes. I teach English, novels, poems, plays. How do you decarbonize those? Well, maybe in how they're read, how they're interpreted. Which poems do you focus on? Which novels do you focus on? So decarbonizing the curriculum in English might be one thing. Decarbonizing the curriculum in history might be another thing, or in any of the other instructional divisions on campus. It might involve shifts in readings, but it's also going to involve shifts in the understanding given to students of the object of study. And that's kind of where the Earth System Stewardship GEO comes in. If I could quickly review some of the highlights of it. The Earth System Stewardship GEO, this is the draft that the Sustainability Standing Committee has proposed, and part of implementing this recommendation 3, the curricular recommendation, will and should involve a broader discussion among faculty in different divisions as to what the language of the precise language of this GEO should end up being. But here's the initial draft anyway, that which reads as follows, if I could quickly read through it. The effort to achieve carbon neutral curriculum aligns with the IPCC goal of stabilizing their system in a Holocene-like state. This faculty and student-driven effort will also find guidance from a 6 general education outcome. I think currently PCC has 5 GEOs.
I'm sorry, Dr. Oventile?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, we're out of time, but we can
move on a little more quickly here.
What we can do is we can extend your time, but I would need a motion by a senator.
Okay.
Can you stop sharing for just a moment?
You bet.
I move to extend the
And
time.
that is who? Oh,
Sylvia
thank
Rigon.
you. Thank you. And second by Brian Wilbur. If there are no objections, we could approve this by unanimous consent. Are there any objections? Oh, how long, Sylvia? I'm sorry.
I move to extend for 5 minutes.
It's up to 5 minutes. Okay. If there are no objections, we can approve an additional 5 minutes by unanimous consent. Are there any objections? Okay. Seeing none, you have another 5 minutes, Dr. Overtime.
Thank you so much. Okay, I'll kind of speed things along here. So on your own, you can read the draft Earth System Stewardship GEO. It would have different implications for different divisions. And one implementation strategy that Kathy Kataris, Emily Fernandez, and other members of the Sustainability Committee have been thinking of is to develop a faculty committee either attached to the Academic Senate or attached to the Sustainability Committee, depending on which makes more sense. Since this would be primarily an academic matter, a curricular matter, perhaps attached to the Academic Senate would be the preferred option. A committee that would include representatives from the various different divisions, the various different academic units on the campus to, one, meet to develop a second, third, whatever number of drafts is needed to have the best Earth System Stewardship GEO language possible. And then two, to facilitate more informal participation of faculty members in decarbonizing the curriculum. So there's the formal part, an Earth System Stewardship GEO that takes some time. There's an institutional process. And then there's a more informal part where any faculty member who's game to go in terms of decarbonizing a history class or a psychology class, a nursing class, whatever it might be, would have a venue, department representatives to work with in that process. I don't know if Kathy has any quick comments you might want to add, and depending on time, I'm happy to try to answer questions, as I'm sure Kathy it's also.
Thank you, Robert. I just put a comment in the chat. I do have a link and I can either share it here or if anyone wants to email me, I'll put my email in. Professor Fernandez and I led, along with students, a Flex Day presentation in which we shared the curriculum that I wrote and revised for English 1C as part of my graduate work. And it was focused on contemplative environmentalism, and we've been teaching it for a year. But also it includes a history of the committee as well. So if anybody is interested, certainly reach out to us. And I'm excited about, we had really great interest on Flex Day, and we have a growing list of people who are interested in continuing this work. So thank you, Robert, for leading, being our fearless leader these past couple of years.
You're welcome. Team effort, real team effort on this committee. So I believe I should stop sharing, and if there's any questions and if there's time, I'm happy to try to answer them, or maybe Kathy maybe as well.
Sorry about that. We have about 2 more minutes. Are there any questions for Professor Oventile or Professor Kataris? Okay, seeing none, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate you coming to Academic Senate.
Thank you.
Okay. Next, we have an information item from the Safe Learning Community Reports and Recommendation. Excuse me, sorry, can't speak today. Safe Learning Environment Committee.
I have a question before my time starts.
Sure.
We have 10 minutes to share, but I can cut it down to 5. Should I cut it down to 5 and then extend it, or?
Yes.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
No problem.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am representing the Academic Senate Safe Learning Environment Committee as chair alongside my esteemed and concerned committee members, Yahaira de la Paz, Giselle Mirales, Dr. Kirsten Ogden, Carmen Rodriguez, Lindsay Ruiz, Irma Jo Bejarano, and Dr. Z. Bernardo. Before beginning, and Yahida is going to help me with this, we would like to remind all watching that our committee has been working tirelessly since 2017, and you could read more about this on board docs in the link. This is our most recent update. On Wednesday, February 2nd, the committee met to discuss key urgent items, the results of our survey to collect data, which was open and accepting responses from the PCC faculty and community from January 27th to February 2nd. The formal apology to Dr. Lopez and the executive team, and the draft of the statements and the resolutions that are being presented today. And we want to note that they were drafts. All items were approved unanimously, and all documents can be found in the following links. We are going to highlight the survey results and the 3 recommendations to the Senate body. And again, you can check the link for the in-depth documents. The 63-page long one document of the survey includes experiences written and offered by 117 of our colleagues and students. Upon reading and compiling these responses, representative of the PCC community as a whole, our committee has concluded that these responses comprise a collective trauma experienced by all segments of the PCC community, which is pervasive and pernicious. These testimonies to trauma exhibit just a small glimpse into the anxiety, fear, disappointment, uncertainty, outrage, and many other human reactions that have accompanied the process of experiencing what can only be described as a clear demonstration of disrespect and disregard by PCC Superintendent President Erica Endra-Jonas and her administrative team. The document includes disturbing reports of PCC administrators on all levels, targeting faculty and staff with personal and unnecessary reprimands, repeated instances of bias and discrimination, the shocking and seemingly purposeful ignorance of basic science while claiming to, quote, work closely with the Pasadena Public Health Department, gaslighting from the highest levels of this public institution, and the repeated and continued push of failed policies and procedures without due consideration for campus health or well-being, exemplifying policy devoid of simple, innovative, and evidence-based pedagogical strategies. And we discussed that as evidenced by the student petition and ongoing complaints from students themselves in our classrooms. No part of PCC's return to campus process has been student-centered. Therefore, we're recommending 3 actions today. 1, that the Academic Senate demands that the PCC Superintendent President and her executive team institute a policy of self-determination that supports students, staff, and faculty, and to formally uphold pedagogical self-determination and academic freedom. 2, that the Academic Senate call upon campus leaders at PCC, especially the Superintendent President and her team, to engage in trauma-informed, healing-centered education training. And we're seeking real financial commitment via the budget that is to dedicate to this effort. The human-centered lens needs to be applied at all levels, especially when it comes to policies that impact equity, safety, health, and well-being. We asked the senators to communicate this need and advocate for a multi-year campus-wide training and a dedicated budget immediately. Our committee has spent fall 2021 researching trauma-informed healing-centered programs in consultation with the Chief Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Officer, and we're ready to engage in this work with recommendations. Finally, the Academic Senate initiates a discussion of whether a vote of no confidence in the current superintendent President's administration is warranted. The pandemic is not yet over at all. Variants continue to evolve and are predicted to impact us over the next 5 years. We as a committee do not have faith that this current administration will be able to humanely respond to these continued challenges in any way that ensures equity or safety. We approved a new survey for this month to continue to collect data so that it will inform what the recommendations are. Even if you took the previous survey, we're asking any of our colleagues who wish to complete it again, including any updated information in their response. Finally, 2 things. We are getting a lot of requests for people who want to volunteer for the committee. And so you can email and ask the board for the link to volunteer. And we would like to encourage all committees and groups on campus to try to begin engaged in the work of trauma-informed and healing-centered pedagogy and practices at any time. In the minutes of last week's Safe Learning Environment Committee, they can find the written trauma acknowledgement and call for healing, which they are welcome to adapt to this work. I have 1 more sentence. May I get maybe even like 3 more minutes would be amazing, but I understand it.
What we could do is we could extend your time.
Okay.
Motion to extend.
By how much
By
time?
5 minutes, I'm sorry.
By 5 minutes. Is there a second? I see
Second.
Professor Endor. I see Professor Indoor with the second. If there are no objections, we can approve the extension of 5 minutes by unanimous consent. Are there any objections? Seeing no objections, this motion is approved. You have 5 more minutes.
Thank you. Then I'll go back a page. At today's meeting of the Safe Learning Environment Committee at 12 noon, committee members discussed the situations of the days since a Wednesday meeting or last week. This includes the superintendent president's op-ed piece published in Pasadena Now on Thursday, February 3rd, as well as correspondence from Trustee Osterling to the chair of this committee, in which he shared that Superintendent Androjonas has been updating the trustees on a daily basis regarding the steps taken to increase on-campus instruction, keeping us informed of what has gone well and what could have been better executed. He said that she has been forthcoming with us regarding us being the Board of Trustees, regarding the communications that she has received. Committee members questioned why the superintendent president and her team were updating the trustees daily, but were not in daily communication with those on the ground who were experiencing procedural chaos and policies marked by confusion and retaliatory threats. The committee also shared compiled comments regarding how when the superintendent president emailed her op-ed piece published in Pasadena Now to the PCC entire campus, she began with, quote, "Hello, Lancer family," end quote. The committee noted how when institutions use the word family in order to subject those who are employed by the institution to unjust and inhumane policies and procedures, it is a manipulative and perverse distortion of the word, feigning inclusivity when these same institutions do not show regard for the pain and suffering of those on campus whom they are trying to coerce into submission with regard to those policies and procedures. The use of the word family in contrived and high emotion situations is a practice rooted in inauthenticity at best, and it can be psychologically abusive at worst. Furthermore, the committee noted that anyone who purports to call themselves a historian should be well versed in the fundamentals of sociological theory and would be aware that families are often key sources of trauma and abuse. Often this trauma and abuse stemming from the family unit is also covered up so that the larger community cannot see what is happening behind closed doors. These patterns and behaviors often lead to internalized oppression and further cycles of abuse. Our committee was highly critical of the blithe indifference exhibited by the person who is supposed to lead and guide the PCC community, especially in times of uncertainty and crisis. And we discussed how President Androjonas's op-ed piece and most of the communication over the past weeks from this administration followed those exact patterns, only touting their actions and intents, and expressing no basic understanding of how these policies have been significantly harmful to multitudes in our community. The committee further reflected on the fact that the charge and purpose of the Safe Learning Environment Committee is rooted in paths toward and bringing about healing of trauma, as well as creating spaces and opportunities for restorative justice for our PCC community. Nowhere in the op-ed piece did the superintendent president or her executive team, even after Friday's deal was reached, acknowledge the errors of the PCC administration or apologize for causing harm, even if the harm might have been unintentionally caused. Instead, in the op-ed piece, Superintendent President diminished the harm experienced by thousands of us as simply, quote, concerns, and then claimed that the same administration is doing everything we can to ensure a safe and healthy learning environment for our students, faculty, and staff, end quote. The committee further highlighted the fact that we received many messages from colleagues since Friday who continue to support these recommendations. And so we have the survey. We are, please let us know if you're interested in volunteering. And then finally, we can start this work at any time. And one thing we would like to highlight is that the Community Excellence Grants Program, which is funded through the donation received from Mackenzie Scott, the application closes March 4th. And so we're hoping, and perhaps even a working group, because there's 8 of us and there's only so much that we can do and want to do, along with this body and other groups on campus and other leaders on campus, could really begin the work of recommendation number 2 for trauma-informed healing-centered campus, so that we can have preventative work as well as restorative work. So thank you for your time and attention to these serious matters.
Thank you so much. Are there any questions for Dr. Kataris?
And I am also being joined by my colleagues, so we can all jump in. I believe Dr. Bernardo and Yahaira de la Paz and Professor Mirales are all here as well. And Lindsay, Professor Lee.
Okay, I'm not seeing any questions. So, oh, there we go. Dr. Francoso.
Hi, thank you for that statement. Quick question, the survey that you sent out to the faculty, can you resend that again? Can you resend that out again so I can make sure to send that to all of the social science faculty? We have a division meeting tomorrow, so I would like to share that with them. And then just really quick.
Actually, I'm sorry, Dr. Francoso. Actually, that needs to be approved by the Senate before it can be sent out.
Oh,
hence the bylaws. Thank you.
My bad. Okay. So and then my only other question then, this policy in the first one, policy of self-determination that supports students. Can you give a little bit more what that means when you mean by the policy?
You mean, are you talking about recommendation number 1?
Yes.
Okay.
Before you do that, we're out of time.
Yeah, we need time.
Okay.
Oh,
we have one more extension. Do I have a motion for an extension of time?
Motion to extend for 5 more minutes.
Okay, and that's Lindsay Ruse. Do I have a second? Professor
Yes,
Bernardo, I saw you. Okay, so if there are no objections, we can approve this by unanimous consent, an additional 5 minutes. Seeing none, the motion is approved.
Thank
Professor
you.
Walker, 5 more minutes, go ahead.
So Professor Francoso, you were asking about recommendation number 1.
Yes.
From what I understand, there still remains some confusion regarding use of HyFlex and other innovative pedagogical strategies. I know that the OWL cameras are being recommended for students if they test positive for COVID. I just personally speaking, and this was 2 weeks ago, when I was asking my students if they were ready to come back, 70% of my 2 classes that meet on campus, I have 2 online, were not ready to come back. And so I was fully prepared to, use Zoom and all the rest of that. But then we were being told by administration that we weren't allowed to do that. So it became very confusing. And so it was just hard for, I think, a lot of faculty to understand how to best support students. And I ended up Zooming with my students outside on campus. And we were so excited because students could private chat me questions, which they couldn't do pre-pandemic. And it was really great. I was like, we're innovating here, right? It's really we have all these powerful tools now. So I would like the Senate to perhaps, do something formally, or I don't even know, we would like that. I don't know if that's something that the Senate needs to discuss further, right? These are recommendations from the committee to the Senate. It's up to the Senate body.
Okay, are there any additional questions for Dr. Gutierrez? Thank you, Dr. Gutierrez, for being here with us.
Thank you.
We appreciate your work. Okay, Dr. Olivo is here. Dr. Olivo, are you ready to present?
Yes, hi everyone. Great to be here with you. And I have a student services update. I wanted to make sure you all have the information for all of the activities occurring this month for Black History Month. We have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 more events. So I'll share my PowerPoint slide deck, and Dr. Lopez, if you would like to send it out to all the senators, that would be really great. You can also check out all of the updated activities on our homepage. And there is also a Zoom backdrop that you could download and utilize this month as well. I also wanted to thank all of the folks involved in Black History Month celebration planning, including the leaders of UJIMA, Black Academia, the Black Student Success Center, our Amend program, Build Women, Black STEM. So many faculty and staff contributed this year. And it was just amazing to be out there with all of you last week at the opening ceremony. So thank you especially to Dr. Gina Lopez, Armia Walker, Dr. Rebecca Cobb, Will Sims, the Association of Black Employees. Thank you everyone for coming together to ensure that we honor Black history. And then also I wanted to thank Olivia Liu, who helped us to make sure that we had everything in place for our Happy Lunar New Year, along with Carrie Afuso and Kathy Way. Thank you so much for that collaboration to make sure that we had a celebration on the same day as the opening ceremony for Black History Month. Coming soon, I did make contact with a museum in town, the Asian Museum in Pasadena, which is from USC, and they invited us to do free tours for our students as long as a faculty member is accompanying them. So I signed up to do the first one. And if any of you are interested in helping our students get a tour of the museum that's right here in town, the Museum of Asian Studies, please let me know, and we can make sure our students have multiple opportunities to take advantage of this. I also wanted to let you know the library is out of hotspots, but we have plenty of emergency aid funding so that students can purchase their own hotspot and their own plan. And just as a reminder, in order to get students emergency aid, you go to Lancer Care Center, and then there's the emergency aid application. It's one sheet, it's very fast. And Dr. Ricardo Castillo, who is a counseling faculty member, is leading a team. They read through these and the students receive their funds in a week. So please make sure you share this information with students. It's just not for hotspots, it's for any emergency that our students are experiencing. And this is funded by federal CARES funds. Speaking of federal CARES funds, I also wanted to let you all know we are preparing for federal CARES funding awards to happen. And this time around, I really tried to work on how to identify students with a financial need. And we're looking at different criteria than in the past. We're on the third round of federal CARES funds. And so there's a lot more flexibility because of the current administration at the federal level. So any student that has, that is a dreamer will receive around 2,000 students, and that's 464 students. Any student that's getting a federal Pell Grant, we have 3,549 students will get $1,000. Any student getting a Board of Governor fee waiver that is not getting a Pell Grant, which we have 3,700 students in this category, are getting $500. Any student getting a Pell Grant plus a supplemental education grant funded by the federal government, we have 1,300 students. These are for students who have their family contribution. The estimate is zero that the family can contribute. So we're providing $1,200 of federal CARES. Students who are utilizing Assembly Bill 19 middle income fee waiver. So our students that don't meet poverty guidelines, but also are middle income and need support. We have 614 students in this category. They'll be receiving $500. Any student who's not in the above categories, but is in a disproportionate impact group in our student equity plan, will get $500, and these are 3,981 students for a total of 13,691 students, and we'll be providing $10,245,800 of our federal CARES funds. What that means is we'll have around $11.5 million remaining to award for the next academic year.
Dr. Olivo?
Yes.
We've run out of time, but if someone could make a motion to approve extended amount of time, we can ask questions. Do I have a motion for an extension? I see Jeff Hupp. And how long, Jeff?
5 minutes.
Thank you. And do I have a second?
I'll second that. Oh, sorry.
Oh, thank you, Lindsay. Lindsay Ruiz. Okay, if there, I'm sorry, Dr. Olivo, can you stop sharing real quick?
Yes.
Okay. If there are no objections, we can approve this by unanimous consent. Are there any objections to a 5-minute extension? Okay, seeing none, you have an additional 5 minutes, Dr. Lee.
Thank you. So I wanted to make sure we are checking for racial equity in awarding of our funds to be certain that we are directing the resources to where they're needed the most, right? And so if you look at our headcount numbers of our African-American Latinx students, our Asian students, for example, 86.4% of Latina, Latino, and Latinx students will be receiving federal CARES, and 83.5% of our Black students will be receiving federal CARES funds. So that's my my presentation for today. I did want to also make sure you are aware that we have our transfer center is in the campus center building, room 203. And we also are preparing for our Asian and Pacific Islander Pathways Day. And then another update is that we are going to be hosting our Historically Black Colleges and Universities Caravan Tour in March. And I will make sure to invite Tamika Alexander to present the next one in my place so that you all have the details for that. And then finally, I'm working on hiring Marisol Jara Garza. And she is an adjunct in child development, and she will be leading our Family Resource Center that will be in CC 232, our Old Black Student Success Center. And I think those are the most important updates from Student Services. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Olivo. And I see that we have a question, Professor Constantine.
Yes, hello, Dr. Olivo. I just wanted to know what percentage of the current student population is African American?
Okay, I do have some data to share with regarding that. And our Black student enrollment 7 days after census for spring was 780. Prior to the pandemic, it was 1,150. So those are our current numbers.
And so that's 780 out of how many total students?
We have around 18,100 headcount students enrolled in the entire college.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Rebecca Johansson.
And that these funds will be distributed to students automatically. They don't have to apply for them.
Yes, that is correct, Rebecca. They'll be loaded to the students' bank mobile accounts. And most of our students have selected for that to go to their direct deposit into their checking accounts.
And what date will this funding be released?
Yeah, the funding, my financial aid team are working on loading that so that next Monday, the students will start to receive those into their funds, into their accounts.
Okay, are there any additional questions for Dr. Olivo? Seeing none, thank you, Dr. Olivo. We appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
Okay, next is old business, discontinuance of the graphic communication technology program, and that is me. We are bringing this back to the Academic Senate because of a technicality. We originally voted unanimously to discontinue the program. However, due to an oversight with the transition to board docs, it was left off of the board docs agenda. However, it was posted, but we want to do everything decent and in order. So we brought it back to the Senate. I want to share with you a letter that was sent to our CNI chairs. And it is stating, there we go. This is dated February the 3rd. The Curriculum and Instruction Committee voted unanimously on Thursday, October 21st, 2021, to recommend to the Academic Senate that the Academic Senate approve the discontinuance of all graphic communication technology programs and the deletion of all graphics courses. During the spring 2021 term, Dean Rojek, I don't know if I said that right, convened a full-time faculty within the Visual Arts and Media Studies Division to evaluate the status and viability of the graphic communications technology program. The division analyzed enrollment, curriculum, current staffing, and labor market demands. The faculty unanimously voted to discontinue the program and recommended the abridged procedure for program discontinuance. Thereafter, the recommendation was forwarded to the superintendent president, vice president of instruction, and academic senate president. And in accordance with AP 4021, a special program review task force was convened. The task force met on Monday, October 18th, 2021. After analyzing the data, the task force recommended to the Curriculum and Instruction Committee and Vice President of Instruction the discontinuance of the Graphic Communications Technology Division. So here we are again. We'll entertain a motion to discontinue the Graphic Communication Technology program. Dr. Foster, is that a first? Yes, a motion?
Yes, it is.
Okay. And Professor Endor, is that a second? Excuse me.
I was wondering whether any discussion is allowed.
Discussion will happen after we have a first and second.
I second it.
Thank you. Okay, is there any discussion? Professor Endor.
It seems like this would be a program that a school like ours would want. I've been in the graphic world for about 40 years, and the physical end of it is still things that people want to learn about all the time. So I was wondering, what is the rush to discontinue this program?
From my understanding, it is not a rush to discontinue the program. The faculty in that program, in the VAMS division, have overwhelmingly unanimously voted to discontinue it because there wasn't a demand for it. And that's what was analyzed. Okay. Rebecca.
Yes, I was just wondering, do we have access to any of those numbers, like enrollments and classes and whatnot? I mean, I guess we could trust the committee that they looked at those things, but I think it would be, like when we talked about it the first time, I was under the impression that the program hadn't been offered in a long time, no one was enrolling. But then with some of the other comments that have happened recently, it seems like maybe there was a lot of enrollment. So I think it would be helpful for us if we had some of those numbers.
Okay. I'm sure we can get those numbers from the VAMS division, but just so you know, it went through 3 different committees. It went through the division committee, it went through a task force, a special program review task force, and it went through CNI. Okay, Sylvia?
Yes, thank you. So I was not informed that there was a motion to archive the program. So when my comment last time reflected my personal and informal understanding of the matter. However, I don't know if I can say anything about this, even though I am the representative for VAMS, because unless there was a discussion which I didn't participate and I was absent, I was not part of the discussion. So I'm not saying that didn't happen. I'm sure there are reasons behind the motions. I was wishing to have more details today. I think it will be important, I guess, to have more information so that we can cast a more informed vote on this.
Okay, thank you. Professor Francoso.
Yeah, hi, I think
Hold on, I'm sorry, Professor Francoso, we just ran out of time. I would need a motion to extend. Do I have a motion to extend this? I see Ken Simon for how long?
5 minutes.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second it.
Who was that? Who seconded?
Mylan Ayers.
Oh, thank you. Okay, if there are no objections, we can approve an extension by unanimous consent. I see a bunch of hands, but are there objections? No? Okay, great. Since we have no objections, we can extend by unanimous consent. So 5 more minutes, Professor Walker and Dr. Francosa.
Yeah, just quick question. Does this also include the discontinuing of the screen printing program as well? I think I asked that question last time and I wasn't sure. I think it said no, but in reading these emails, it seems like the screen printing program was also discontinued. And I just have a really concern about the screen printing program, because I know a lot of our core scholars have come into college through the screen printing program, because the screen printing program, if we want to talk about like equity and collaboration with community, the screen printing program is involved heavily in community process and community projects with community partners. They do work with a number of local and internationally known community organizations that kind of focus on screen printing, the process of screen printing, the history of screen printing. And this is a really viable and important resource, not only to PCC, but also just to the community and the surrounding screen printing communities amongst all of our community partners. So it's interesting just to see how and why they're also thinking, if they're thinking about also discontinuing the screen printing program. I would like much more information on that and the numbers and the process and all of that, if that's possible as well. Thank you.
Okay, Sheila Rose, were you going to answer that question?
Not that specific question, but I was going to address that. I think it was back in 2012, the Institutional Effectiveness Committee, which is the program review committee. I was the chair at the time, and when we conducted the program review for graphic communications at that time, there were extremely low completion numbers awarding certificates. I can't remember off the top of my head, but it was something like 2 or 3 certificates in 5 years had been awarded. In addition, even back in 2012, the labor market data did not demonstrate that students completing the program could earn a living wage. So while I understand the importance of community outreach and connection and access, that isn't necessarily a credit program that should be awarding certificates that do not result in a living wage. So certainly through continuing education or other branches of the college, right, non-credit, those might be avenues, but we have to make sure that our students are not spending their time, their financial aid dollars, right, their hard work in earning degrees and certificates that don't improve their economic outcomes. Thank you.
Okay, and next we have Professor Indor.
I'm wondering if we can't postpone this till we get more information on it, because it's an avenue for students to come in to the school, at least to other community colleges.
That would be up to the people who placed the motion. There is a motion on the floor. Jeff Hupp?
You know, I actually remember serving on IEC back when that was discussed, as Sheila Rose just mentioned. And from that was my education on finding out how much energy is spent on looking at labor market demand and, you know, are students benefiting from things. And the reason I remember this is because I remember that I was so glad that we pay attention to those things, because that's what I really want. Is I want students to feel like they're getting an education that's actually leading them to something. And I think that when we're permissive of teaching out a program, it's unethical. And so that worries me. And I don't want any student to be harmed in any way by the continuance of a program, but also the deletion of a program. I think we all want what's best for students here. Later, I went on to serve as the CNI rep for my department, and we also look at labor market demand as one of our metrics when we vote on things and consider whether things should be removed or added. And so, you know, just to add a little bit more context, I thought my experience would be helpful to be offered here.
Thank you, Jeff. Professor Constantine.
Sorry, Dr. Lopez, I wanted
Yes.
to point out that a non-senator is participating in the chat. You might want to close the chat.
Thank you. Again, if you're a guest, a non-voting member, that's out of order for you to post to the senators during a discussion. And that is our 5 minutes. I will entertain a motion to extend time.
So moved.
Okay, is there a second? That was Bevel Constantine, by the way. Is there a second?
This is Dr. Francoso. I'll second.
Thank you for doing that for the record. If there are no objections, we can approve this by unanimous consent. Okay, seeing none, we have 5 more minutes. And I believe it was your turn, Professor Constantine.
Yes, I think, part of the bigger question that I have is how much has PCC or what has PCC done to promote the program, to advertise the program, to bring students in? I'm very concerned about ending programs that our underrepresented students may be interested in. So I think it's definitely a bit of a concern. And the fact that we have a VAMS representative who's not quite sure what type of discussions happened within the department or division, I think is also a bit of concern as well. So I would just like to have, again, some additional information before we make a decision on this. Thank you.
Okay, Professor Constantine, thank you. And Sheila Rose.
I just wanted to kind of reiterate that it would be an unethical decision, as Jeff Hupp mentioned, to promote a program that does not lead to a living wage for our underrepresented students.
Thank you. And Professor Constantine, just so you know, what I was told is that there was not a demand. That's why the district is considering discontinuing this program. Professor Endor.
I was wondering if all the other credit programs graduate people ready to earn a living. I find that hard to believe that everybody graduates able to get a living wage in the program in which they're enrolled.
I don't have that information, Professor Endor.
Does anybody?
Okay, I'm going to take the next question and then we can get that information for you. Thank you. Professor Francoso.
Yeah, just really quick. So the idea of choosing a career specifically to obtain a living wage doesn't necessarily, none of the careers our scholars are getting potentially amount to a living wage. None of, we're barely making potentially a living wage now after we have our PhDs and all this stuff, wait, multiple years down the line, right? And I know that education is not just about money and vocation and getting living wage and finding this job. It's also about learning experiences, seeing what areas you're interested in, finding your true calling about process. And I think the arts is one of the ways that folks potentially do this, right? I know the arts, just to say a little bit myself, saved my life, literally, right? I didn't go down that way. I ended up being a sociologist, but without the arts, I don't know where I would have been. And I could say the same thing for a lot of the core scholars as well. So maybe if it can't stay as a program, which it sounds like they've already made the decision, is there any ways to put that, to still keep that, have it open and operated for folks to be able to participate in the rich, the wealth, the history of that program? But I mean, the argument though about this living wage doesn't jive or doesn't make any sense with me. Thank you.
Dr. Foster.
Yeah, I just wanted to make a comment about just the programs campus-wide in general. We have finite amount of funds to support programs, and that hasn't been talked about. Certain programs cost much more money than other programs, and as a campus, we need to evolve in what we offer our students. And we can't add new courses if we have kind of obsolete courses hanging around getting funds. This is from my understanding way back, we've been having this discussion a lot, that it's a pretty expensive program considering. And anecdotally, I've run into an Uber driver who went through the program and basically said that it was a very long program and that he and his kind of group, people he knows, they can do screen printing on their own, DIY, right, for a much less amount of time, right? It's, you know, I don't know that it's such a specialty that we need to be funneling a bunch of funds into it. At the possible expense of offering something more innovative. And I think Sheila Rose did suggest that we do move it over to non-credit or some other thing. So Anthony, your suggestion for doing that's fine. I just don't know that we need a full-fledged program that has, you know, 2 full-time tenure track professors teaching it with a huge budget for materials.
I also put additional information in the chat if you want to check out that link. Thank you, Dr. Olivo, for that. And Dr. Bernardo.
Hi, yes, thank you. Is it possible?
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. We've extended our time on this, and I apologize. But there is a motion on the floor. So we would need to vote. And I don't think that this is going to be a unanimous consent situation. So roll call vote, unless the people who made the motion want to scale back, which I don't think they do. So there's a motion on the floor. Professor Walker, we're going to do a roll call vote. And if you are an alternate representing your division, please let us know by raising your hand. So, okay, Professor Castanon?
Yeah, I'm not an alternate, but can we review what a yes and no means before we vote?
Yes. A yes is to discontinue the program, to discontinue the graphic communications technology program, and a no is to not. Okay, I'm going to lower your hand now. Are there any alternates that are representing their divisions today? Okay, Professor Hangan. Thank you for that. Is that a question? Or are you representing?
No, I'm an alternate today.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Okay, so Professor Walker, go ahead. And Professor Walker, just so you know, we only have one alternate, so other alternates, the actual rep is here.
Veronica Jaramillo.
Yes.
Sheila Rose.
Yes.
Armia Walker. Yes. Hold on. Bevel Constantine.
No.
No. Geeta Endor.
No.
Guyan Jerome.
Yes.
Dr. Bernardo.
No.
Milan Ayers.
Mylan Ayers, no.
Mylan Ayers. I'm sorry, what was your vote? I apologize.
No.
No. Okay.
No.
Thank you, Mylan. Let's see here. Richard Allen is not here. Is Blanca Hernandez here?
No, I'm subbing in for her.
I got you. I just wanted to double check. Thank you. Brian Pagan?
No.
No. Okay. Helene Seropian?
Yes.
Okay. Jeff Huck?
Yes.
Okay. Carmen Stevens, sorry.
Abstain.
I'm sorry, Carmen, can you say it again? Yes or no?
Do we have the option to abstain?
Oh, yes, ma'am. I'm sorry. Yes. Is that an abstain vote?
Yes, thank
Thank you. Thank you.
abstain.
Okay. Thank you. Tim Melnick? Melnick, sorry. No, gotcha.
No.
Thank you. Vanita Swaminathan?
No.
Okay. Lindsay Ruiz?
Abstain.
Okay. Blanca Rodriguez?
Abstain.
Okay. Karen Sober?
Yes.
Okay. Ken Simon?
Yes.
Okay. Margaret Bowles?
Yes.
Okay. Jose Castanon?
Yes.
Okay. Lyman Chafee?
Abstain.
Okay. All right. Susan Bauer?
Abstain.
Okay. Valerie Foster?
Yes.
Okay. Michael Vendrasco?
No.
All right. Brian Wilbur?
Yes.
Okay. Joshua Fleming?
Abstain.
Okay, abstain, thank you. Roger Guerrero? Okay. Anthony Francoso?
No.
Okay. Rebecca Johansson?
Abstain.
Okay. And, okay. Sylvia Ringon?
Abstain.
All right. That is the end of voting. I will calculate the votes. I'll read it. Okay.
So we have
12 yeses, 9 noes, and 8 abstains.
Okay, the yeses have it, and the program is discontinued. Thank you very much, Academic Senate, and we will move on to new business. Oh, someone has a hand. Oh, I'm sorry. I see a hand up, Lyman.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that all that's above board. That was less than half the voting members voting yes. Even though they were a greater number of yeses than no's, they're less than half if you include the abstains. And I don't know how that parses out with respect to the way that we run things. So I'd like to check up on that. Is it just that the abstains are basically not counted and therefore there is a majority of yeses, or?
The abstains are counted. There were 8 abstentions.
Right.
9.
I got that part. I'm saying is that the yeses are actually less than, or fewer than half the votes. So I'm wondering, you know, even though there are more yeses than nos, when you weigh them against the entirety, it's less than half. So it seems a rather dramatic step to take when fewer than half the people are saying yes. I'm just wondering on whether or not we've have a precedent on that before. So,
Well, according to Robert's rules, the abstentions go with the majority.
got it. Thank you.
No problem. Okay. Moving forward, we have new business and the elections calendar. I know that Jared Ashcroft had to leave early for a personal matter, but I believe Dr. Veronica Jaramillo was going to show us the calendar.
So I'm going to share the screen, and I think we're required to also have a document turned out. So I'm going to put this document in the chat for everyone. So this is the presentation of the Elections Committee calendar. So the nominations form will be distributed Wednesday, February 9th. An email to full-time faculty explaining the online nomination process. Then nominations are due by February 28th by noon. The Academic Senate Board nominees announcement to Senate on the February 28th. And then platform statements are due by March 2nd by noon. And the platform statements will be distributed electronically Friday, March 4th. And electronic voting will begin March 14th and close March 25th. And ballot results will be announced then March 25th, and then presented at the Academic Senate to the Academic Senate Board on March 28th. I think the ballots are verified then the March 25th, also counted and verified. Okay, so that is the calendar for this year's election.
Can you stop sharing, Dr. Adami? Thank you so much. Okay. Is there a motion to approve the elections calendar? Anyone? Oh, thank you, Jeff Hupp. That's a motion to approve, and a second by Valerie Foster. Thank you very much. Okay, is there any discussion on the calendar? Okay, seeing none, we can approve this by unanimous consent. Are there any objections? Seeing none, we have a new calendar for elections calendar for 2022. Very good, thank you. Okay, so the next item in new business is a renewed defeated motion timeline. There was a question at the last Academic Senate about if a defeated motion could be brought back up to the Senate. And the answer is yes, with a specific, what is the word I'm looking for? I'm sorry, everyone. It's been a long week. It is only Monday. The question was if we could bring one motion back up that's been defeated. The answer is yes, however, with restrictions. And what we want to propose here is that the restrictions be at least 2 meetings, 2 Academic Senate meetings after the defeated motion was defeated. So that's what I would like. Thank you, stipulations, thank you. That's what I would like to propose to the Academic Senate. Is that a question? Yes, go ahead, Professor Wilbur.
Why 2 weeks? Where are you coming up with the 2 weeks?
Not 2 weeks, 2 meetings.
I'm sorry, why 2 meetings? Excuse me.
It was to give the committee or the group that's working on whatever the motion is time to make whatever repairs, do whatever research is necessary, and then bring it back to the Academic Senate. And again, it was based on, that's a month, roughly.
There's nothing in Robert's rules that stipulates that, though.
No, it just says that we can, and it's up to the board or the body to decide if there are restrictions.
Robert's rule states that if a series of meetings has a vote turning down a motion that it cannot be considered again in that series of meetings. And by series of meetings, I assume that that would be the spring semester, unless there's a set of stipulations. And one of the stipulations is that one of the people that votes in the majority votes to bring it back to the table for discussion. That is to say, there's nothing about the two meetings in Robert's rules. And so that
Okay.
would be sort of going away. And the point of Robert's rules is to be efficient and to save time. So
Okay,
I
so
would bring that up.
I got that information from our former parliamentarian, John Henley, who said that we could bring that up as long as there was restrictions. I see that you have Robert's rules. I can confer with him and we can postpone this to our next meeting. I'm fine with that.
I propose to postpone, I guess, or if I'm cutting off the discussion too quick, then I apologize. I just wonder if I'm supposed to bring that up now.
You have the Robert's Rules of Order book right in front of you, so you tell me. Okay. Professor Constantine, we're going to continue the discussion and then go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask, would that prevent the Adjunct Faculty Issues Committee from bringing back the hiring discussion to the Senate the next meeting?
Actually, if it isn't approved here, and I do want to, after what Professor Wilbur said, I would like to bring it back up to our former parliamentarian to be sure that we are doing everything decent and in order. The goal, at least, is not to restrict people from being able to fix whatever they needed to fix and then bring it back to this body. It's to be more inclusive, not exclusive. But again, I can bring that back to the Senate if we're not ready to vote on this. So I'm going to ask, I believe it was Jeff who made the motion. Was that you, Jeff, who made the motion?
I made the motion about the
timeline.
The timeline.
Okay. If you could withdraw that motion, I can bring back more information to the Senate.
I withdraw.
Thank you, Jeff. We appreciate that. Okay, are there any other questions? We will table this for the next academic Senate meeting. Okay, then we will move forward. That has been tabled. Okay, now we have consent items. And unfortunately, my copy cut it off. So give me just a moment to bring this back up. I apologize for the delay. We are almost out of here. Okay. Okay, so we have two members who would like to be part of the bylaws committee, and that is Dr. Veronica Jaramillo and Yvette Rosas from counseling. I would like to entertain a motion to approve them together. Dr. Stevens, I see your hand. Is there a second?
Second.
Talene's, okay, Josh Fleming, sorry, Talene. Okay, so that is to approve them together. Now I would like to entertain a motion to approve both people, well, to approve the nominations for the bylaws committee. Talene Serapian, thank you so much. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Josh Fleming. Okay, so if there are, is there any discussion on this matter? Okay, seeing none, we can approve these members by unanimous consent. If there are no objections, then they are approved by unanimous consent. Awesome. Are there any future agenda items? Proposed future agenda items? Yes, Professor Constantine.
Yes, since nobody else wants to bring it up, I will take the leadership and I will propose that we have a discussion about a vote of no confidence as a discussion item with possible action.
Okay.
Thank you.
And just so you know, according to the Academic Statewide Senate, there needs to also be a resolution before a vote of confidence can be proposed. Thank you. Dr. Francoso.
I would like to propose the 3 recommendations that the Safe Learning Environment Committee brought up as part of their process for those 3 elements to potentially be future agenda items, right? The idea of the policy of self-determination that supports students, staff, and faculty, what it means to really develop and engage a trauma-informed practice and college, and the discussion, as Professor Constantine mentioned, on whether a vote of no confidence is warranted.
Okay, thank you very much. Again, a resolution will need to be completed. Yes, Professor Bernardo, Dr. Bernardo, I'm sorry.
Hi, thank you. My question is, from whom or what entity does the resolution regarding the vote of no confidence have to come from? Is it from whoever is proposing that, or can it come from a committee, or is there?
It should, from my understanding, which is limited, from my understanding, it doesn't have to come from a committee. If it came through an academic senate committee, it would have to come through the academic senate before we could send it out, et cetera, et cetera. But the resolution itself, there have been resolutions that have come from faculty members.
Thank you.
No problem. Any other proposed future agenda items? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on. Are there any announcements? Professor Wilbur.
I don't know if this is an announcement, maybe a question, maybe this is something that should be a future agenda item, but I think the announcement is maybe the appropriate place to put it. I wanted to point out that there was a rave alert that went out last Friday, and I don't think that was enough time to get this on the agenda for this meeting. Maybe this is the appropriate place to bring it up in the Senate. The rave alert went out 28 minutes after my colleagues were already talking about it and emailed around telling me to close my door. The rave alert needs to be the first line of defense, not a 28-minute later response after my colleagues already warned me of what's going on campus. So I would ask for more out of our rave alerts, and I don't know, maybe we need to make that an agenda item for the next meeting. Thanks for the time.
Okay, I will reach out to Dr. Ramirez as well as Dr. Olivo to see who the appropriate people would be to talk to about our rave alert. If it needs to be agendized, I'll make sure that it is. If not, I'll just report on it in my president's report.
Thank you.
No problem. Lindsay, is that a hand? It looks like a thumbs up and a hand. Not sure.
It's a hand. I'm sorry. When would we need, if we do create a resolution, when would you need that resolution by?
It would need to be submitted to me by 2 o'clock the Thursday before the meeting, the actual Senate meeting, which is the 28th, because the 21st is a holiday.
Okay. Thank you very much.
No problem. Yes, Jeff Hub.
So I have a number of questions that I want to ask about the vote of no confidence. However, I'm not feeling like this would be the appropriate time. For those who do have extra questions, just about context and procedure, what should we do? Who should we ask?
What we do in the Academic Senate is that we consult the statewide Academic Senate. And it be very clear that certain things are whatever is working conditions or compensation falls under the faculty association. If it falls under 10+1, it is within our purview to discuss. And I do want to remind everyone, I understand that we're at announcements, but we're 12 minutes over our time. So I want to keep that in mind as well. Be mindful of that. Thank you. Yes, Professor Rigon.
I just wanted to have a sense of the, so what is the timeline if somebody in the next meeting will come up with a resolution and will propose a vote? Then it means that it is possible that we have to vote on the next meeting, or there is a longer, what is the timeline for?
Actually, it would come before the Senate as a first read.
Okay.
There would be questions and discussions. In the second read, we would do it like we would do any other initiative or referendum. So it's not a simple process, as the statewide academic senate has said. It's a very something that they expect us to be thoughtful about and to be very specific about, because it's in essence an impeachment. Okay. Are there any other announcements? Great. So I'd like to entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you, Professor Ayers. Professor Serapian, is that a second? Awesome. We are, wait, if there's no discussion and no problems with that, can we adjourn? I see no issues. We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone. This was intense, but good. Thank you so much for your participation. Have a great day. Thank you.
Too late for a great day, but thank you. Or a great evening instead, if I can trade that in.
A great evening to you too, Professor Endor.
Thank you.
Awesome. Okay, let's see. So I'm gonna move everyone to, there we go. Everyone to the, where is it at?